Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
You've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Welcome back to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. Today, I've got Michael Elliott with AdTran. Michael, how are you doing today?
Hey, Ken. No, I'm doing well. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It is a weird day in St. Louis, Missouri. The weather is still mid-November and it's still hot outside, which is really crazy, but hopefully that changes here soon. Where are you calling in from today, Michael?
Yeah, so I'm from Skegness in the UK, and trust me, it is never good weather here. So if you've got good weather in November, you're doing pretty well, because here the sun doesn't come out, to be honest with you. We get about 6 weeks a year, and other than that, it's cold and it is freezing out there today.
I bet you have a lot of good programmers out of that part of town.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit remote, so you end up with a lot of digital remote workers, and yeah, that's how we sort of roll here, is everyone was working from home.
Awesome, Michael. Before we jump into the interview and get too deep, why don't we just let the audience know who you are, like what makes you an entrepreneur, and what possesses you to get up and do that grind every single day?
Well, I'm self-motivated and self-driven, and that wasn't always the case. And there's a bit of a backstory as to how I got into entrepreneurship. I own 6 businesses in total, but the main ones are AdTran, which is a premier partner PPC agency, Google Ads, specifically speaking. iTrain that now implements AI systems, two-way SMS bots, helping people increase their bottom line from inquiries they're already getting. And then I have quite a big foothold in the holiday home space in the UK, which is like static caravans or holiday homes where people come to because of where I live, Skegness, that is the location. I have a trade business where we buy and sell caravans, and I also own a physical holiday park that people come and they purchase their caravans they stay on. So all of that has happened since the doors opened back up after COVID. So 4.5 years. And my story started with, like, my outlook was pretty bleak. I'll go into it very briefly now. I don't want to come across as too depressing, but it is the fire. A lot of entrepreneurs who I speak to, and I surround myself with entrepreneurs now, a lot of entrepreneurs who I speak to, they have something that lit that fire. And it doesn't have to be anything like what I'm about to say, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs who I know who all have that sort of moment where, you know, the pain comes from, if you like. And I've sort of become friends with the pain and smile at it. And that is why I get up every day and do what I do. But I was 18. I went to university, studied multimedia technologies and digital marketing. I had a partner at the time. She fell pregnant. I'd been with her for like 5 years before that. Long story short, we split. I finished uni. I came back home to Skegness. I went to university in Sheffield. I came back and it hit me. I didn't feel it coming. Nothing told me otherwise. I didn't have no path in my life about where I was going. I didn't understand, probably like a lot of young people today, what was next to me, you know, or next for me. And that split up with her hit me in the heart. Like, I was heartbroken. I then became depressed. And I don't say that lightly. I didn't leave the house for 6 months. My parents were worried about me. It was a very difficult time in my life, but it's only with hindsight. Hindsight's a great ball to catch, eh? Like, that's what they say, because you already know where it's going. But with hindsight now, not because of her or anybody specific, but that event, because we had a baby and I felt like I'd lost my child, I'd lost access to my child. We have a great relationship now, Poppy. That's what the holiday park is called, Poppy Grove. That hit me like a ton of bricks, and I literally hit the floor. And I didn't have a pound to my name. I had nothing. And I recovered. After about 6 months, I woke up one day and I felt 1% better. And I sort of live by that mantra now. I try and do 1% better every day. That's it. Just 1% better than I did the day before. But I felt 1% better. When that happened to me, I started to recover, as in I wanted to go out. I started to look out because I was unemployed. Obviously, I wasn't leaving the house. I didn't have anything going on. And I came across a PPC executive job at a local agency to me at the time. And it was an eye-opener working there, but it's like a sliding doors moment in my life. And I've spoken about it on my YouTube channel, Michael Elliott AI, a few times. And what happened was I had 2 job interviews, one on the Wednesday, one on the Thursday. The Thursday one was digital marketing. The Wednesday one was for something completely different. It snowed in Skegness by the coast, where it never snows overnight. I was late for the first interview, didn't get it. Went to the second interview Thursday, nailed it, got the job. I've been in the Google Ads game for 14 years now because of that. And everything that I've built has been built based off of the PPC cash flow that I've been able to generate by scaling businesses and improving their ROI. So I look back at those moments and I thank them, if you know what I mean. You know, I think it was written for me at that time for that to happen. And yeah, like now I own a 7-figure PPC agency that specializes in scaling businesses. And with the AI stuff now, with AI Train, we can automate things with lead nurturing, churn risk detection, and reactivation of leads, etc. It's a real big opportunity. But I think the fire comes from the pain. It would be the short answer to that question.
Absolutely. Very similar cadence. I'm not going to say story, but cadence of entrepreneurship to a lot of the founders that I talk to on a regular basis. And finding your super why in life and why you do things is so important. And I find that it often, the founders that I talk to often falls to a child, is somewhere in that story. If it's the child that they had or the child that they didn't get to be when they were a kid, either way, I think we're just doing our best job of playing.
Exactly. And I agree with that. And I've also agreed with that personally with other entrepreneurs. But I tell you what it is for me. You know, that risk averseness that 99% of the population have that's drilled into you in school, like where they're like, get a job, provide, the industrial age. This is what they try and pump into you. And frankly, because we're on a podcast, it's a load of nonsense. That's how I'm going to say it. Because they don't teach you anything. They don't teach you compound interest. They don't teach you about LLCs, limited companies. They don't teach you about these things. You have to go into specific, probably university level. At least I did. I can't speak about today exactly, but I look at what my daughter's doing and nothing is teaching her about how you can actually work for yourself. So I push, I put it back to that place. And I think that when it comes down to the fear factor, everybody has that fear factor. Like, I'll tell you the story. A friend of mine came around my house when he'd quit the same agency and gone his own way in a completely different space. And he came around my house for dinner. And I cooked him dinner and he come around and we were just chilling. And he said to me, I don't want you to take offense to this, but looking at you now a year on after I've left tells me that I made the right decision. And basically he was like pity, like, because he saw me in the 9-to-5 grind and, and I'm not dissing anybody or, coming on hard on anybody who's in the 9-to-5. What I'm trying to tell you is don't believe that the people who tell you that you can't do it, because the biggest way to kill a large idea, a big idea, is to tell it to a small mind. Like, they'll just suck the life out of it. And for me, you can't push me to the edge because I'm from the edge. Like, I was already there when I was 18 years old. Like, I was depressed, down, no money, nothing. Like, I'm not scared of going back there. So you can't stop me. And that is the way that I don't want that to come across as arrogant in any way, because it isn't. I'm not Elon Musk, but I'm an entrepreneur who basically says, do you know what? We're going to roll the dice on this. We're going to roll the dice on this. We're going to roll the dice on this. And I'm not I'm not risk averse whatsoever. I'm not a gambling man in terms of the generalized gambling nature. But when it comes to risk in business, there's always an element of risk. And you should look at it as opportunity, because the worst possible thing that can happen is you're back in the exact same place you were now. There's more jobs available for you to go and get. You don't have to be scared.
I like that thought process of look at risk as opportunity and failure as teachers. If you reframe how you look at a lot of these words and you look at them from, love and compassion instead of fear and greed, then your whole process, your entire world changes. I want to talk a little tech for a second here, because you've used a couple of letters and we, not everybody's on the same page. Can you describe what PPC is, maybe some of the other letter jargons around those things, and how do you use a PPC to raise somebody's business?
Yeah. So PPC is Google Ads, the Google Ads platform. Whenever you do a search on the Google Ads search engine, there's ads that show, as well as organic listings. Anybody with an interest in this will notice, like, there's the AI section, etc. now, with AI being a big thing, which will be LLMs, large language models. I'm dumping a lot here. I do appreciate that, so apologies. But they are going to take over as a paid channel, I think, in the future. If I'm buying something now, I go to to ChatGPT or I go to whatever, Claude. But PPC is pay-per-click advertising. And I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world, Mercury Holidays, Perfect Draft, Vodafone. Like, I've worked with some really large companies. And effectively, what I do is I bring down your customer acquisition cost by maximizing your return on investment, by optimizing your strategy from a Google Ads perspective. That's the simplest way I could put it.
So you pay Google to have people click on a link to go to a website.
Yeah, exactly. And
And
that
then
can be
from that website, the user should buy something, or a percentage of the people that click that link will buy something. And so what basically you have to do is, if you work the math backwards, it's not really challenging to say, if I sell something for $1,000 and it costs me $1 a click, I can spend $500 on clicks. So I got to sell one out of every 500 clicks. And
Exactly.
that's the PPC game, right? It's an arbitrage game. It's fun. It can be risky. I've played some pretty wild PPC games in my life with arbitrage, and there's things called rug pools and other things that can happen to you. So
I've been involved in search arbitrage, so I know what you're talking about there. Yeah, so I know exactly what you mean. But yeah, it's
for the average business person, right? Like a yoga studio, a gym, tire company, pay per click for your area is a really, really solid way to grow your business, right? I would equate it to the yellow pages of the last century.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of call it that. It is related. I'll say it like this. When I quit and I went solo, I looked at what my opportunities were and I started hustling in Facebook groups. I'll probably cover that in a moment. But to get to the PPC point, I had added MRR to my PPC agency within 6 months using PPC. So
MRR is monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah, monthly recurring revenue. So if you think about it if you sell paper clips, you're going to struggle. If you have a service, a digital service, or you are a service-based business, or you're like SaaS companies are great for PPC. It's expensive, but they perform very well because of their lifetime value of their customers. Like, that's what I do. And you hit the nail on the head right at the start. You reverse engineer everything based off of their customer acquisition costs versus their LTV. And if you do that, and the LTV is higher than the average customer acquisition cost.
And LTV stands for
lifetime value.
Lifetime customer value. Very, very important number to get if you're running a business. Super important stuff. Now that we understand what PPC is and anybody's watching that's kind of getting into the marketing game, how does AI change that over the next year?
AI is going to completely revolutionize how every single thing in your life works when it comes to business. And if your business, I've been in the digital space 14 years. If I've launched an AI agency, there's a reason for it. I know what's coming. I build and my companies deploy, like literally my own businesses deploy, two-way SMS agents that weed through inquiries. Like, for example, my trade company, Hot Caravan trade company, we have an inquiry comes in, between 400 and 800 leads a month we get. We've got one sales rep. One. Find me another business that has that ratio of sales rep to leads. I bet there isn't one. And the reason for that is because we have AI auto-qualify, auto-follow-up, establish. So basically, the sales rep just gets all of the good leads that are ready to move forward. Ping, his phone goes off. You've got this call or you've got this inquiry. The rest of them, they're all put into nurture funnels. So AI is going to completely revolutionize it. And I don't mean to scare entrepreneurs and business owners out here right now, but I'm telling you now, I don't care how big your business is. If you do not implement AI into your business, you will not be here 5 years from now. And that's a fact. And you can watch this podcast and hold me to it. Because the technology is advancing so fast that it no longer feels robotic. It's no longer like a robot. People look at it. I don't want a robot running my business. I don't want a robot running my sales. They look at it that way when in reality...
If I closes deals, I'll take it.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. I've got one rep handling 600 leads a month. Like a normal agency with that amount of inquiries would probably have a team of, I don't know what, 13, 15 sales reps. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit high, but still a lot of sales reps picking up the phone manually, trying to call people while they're on the toilet and things like that. Like, just get them while they're hot with AI. And the other thing is, it never sleeps. So we wake up in the morning. I was working with a business out of Canada called Evolution AV. Fantastic. It's a fantastic company. I've worked with them for many years. Yeah, when it comes down to their sort of approach to AI, we were looking through their inquiries, and it turned out that 42% of their inquiries came out of ours. So that inquiry has to wait until the office opens the following day. If you were my competitor, I've already closed them. So you're out the game. And that's why AI is so important. Not just for sales. There's a lot of manual stuff. I've worked with DirecTV out the US as a partner as well. I know how to implement these systems, and they are, they are going to be integral. Do you remember before these things were around? And you'd have to use your home phone, and you'd have to call somebody. The digital age is now the agricultural age, the industrial age, where all of that happened. The shift is now about to happen with AI, where the average work is going to be void. Let's say the income in households is 60% as it stands. Well, you better believe that if an AI agent can efficiently do your job better than you, it's going to be implemented. And no, I don't buy into the scaremongering of AI. Oh, AI's coming for your jobs, robots can do everything, because they can't. They can't speak to a human heart. They can't. But what they can do is handle everything manual data entry wise, sales follow-up wise. And if you leave yourself exposed, basically what I've got a video on this on my YouTube channel, but light the entrepreneurial fire now before you find yourself in the boat with everybody else who's trying to light it at the same time, because they need to, because their jobs have either become less required and necessary, or completely extinct, which will happen for a few people.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild game that we're playing at the moment. I'm a big poker player, not a huge poker player. I've won a couple dozen tournaments in my life. And one of the strategies that I really love is when I have the nuts, I've got the winning hand in my hand. I tell the table, I'm going all in. I have the best hand. Do not bet against me. I'm trying to do you all a favor. And they bet anyway. This is what I feel like is happening right now in business with AI. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, people, this is coming. We need to figure things out. And I keep getting, AI can't do my job. AI can't do this. Robotics can't do that. We're training robotics in WoW faster than anything has ever been trained in existence. We're doing 30 years of training on robotics in 3 hours. It's absolutely insanity. This is coming, people. AI is here. It's not even coming. It is here. The layoffs are coming. They're happening right now. The automation is happening at breakneck speed. I promise you, we're going to have 10 million humanoid robotics off the factory line in 2026. Next year. 10 million humanoid robots.
Crazy. Like Fiverr, people will probably know Fiverr, the freelance platform. Yep. I'm in the top 1% of Upwork freelancers, so I've earned over $500,000 on the platform on Upwork. Fiverr's a competitor. I don't use it. I think it's lower quality, generally speaking. But Fiverr laid off 500 people, said that they're an AI first company and that they're going with AI. This is how it's going to be. But the thing is that with that, is your glass half full or is it half empty, my friend? Because listening to this podcast or watching this podcast and thinking about AI, you either look at it as an opportunity to beat everybody else and catch up decades of experience in comparison to other businesses, or you look at it as, I don't want to say a sob story, but you look at it as a negative thing where it's coming for your job. Think about how you can leverage it to improve your own quality of life and watch what happens when you do it.
Absolutely.
I recorded a video yesterday using Google's Notebook LM. It is completely free. It can have up to 2 million words in it. And I built a fake PPC agency's financials, staff members, overheads, everything. And I was asking it questions, and it was specifically pulling from those sources. Then you can change it to be a sales rep, CFO, to a chief, financial officer, and it was giving me real life actionable steps to take in my business to hit the targets that I wanted to hit for 2026 and beyond, and 25, the end of 25, and 2026 and beyond. And what I'm telling you is, this is AI in its infancy. It's a baby right now.
Yeah,
but
we've been using AI for about 20 years, right?
Yeah, of course.
But 10 years and 3.5 years when it's been good.
Yeah, exactly. And what's happening now is because it's that good, it trains itself that fast, and it's that popular that all of the LLMs or SaaS get all of the information so quickly on how to improve their answers and improve their quality that new versions come out quicker. You know, it's like a business, just it snowballs. I'll tell you what everyone's problem is with AI. This is some wisdom, I think, because when I first jumped into AI, building N8N workflows, which is a no-code platform that allows you to connect systems and build flows, etc. That's where we do most of our work, N8N. Shout out Lucas Perrine. He's one of my best friends, and he's the official French N8N ambassador. We work closely together on projects. But what I would say is there's too many shiny lights. If you're a business owner and you don't know what like you're looking at everything from an AI point of view, I guarantee you're going to be overwhelmed because there are just so many AI tools that are coming out every day. 50 new AI tools, 1,000 new AI tools are launched, new wrappers, new this, new that it's impossible without someone like me or somebody else who knows how to do this to actually sit you down and say, hey, forget about everything else, because I'll tell you why AI is not what we're looking at. AI is not, businesses aren't implementing AI. A business owner or a sales team is not implementing AI. They're buying their Tuesday back. So when you look at implementing AI into a business, you should be looking at it from a cost per lead, profit first point of view. Where are my biggest bottlenecks? What stifles our growth? What is our churn rate increasing? Looking at these things, then looking at how AI can implement that. How implementing AI can resolve that. And that is how you will come up with the right solutions. No business should just go out there and start buying every AI tool and trying to implement it into their business. That's crazy. You would never do that. Nobody should do that. And if you are doing that and feeling lost, please stop immediately because it's not required. But when it comes down to that next step of like how you actually take it to efficiency, the three main ones that I like, that I sell the most of, and that I deliver for businesses that have the highest impact: speed to lead systems that answer every inquiry in under 45 seconds. You can't be beaten by competition if you send them SMS and two-way SMS and email, two-way conversations using a tool like Closebot. Now, I'll tell you the tools. Using a tool like Closebot with an N8N, Go High Level, whatever. Using these different platforms all connected together in a unique way to give you that opportunity to get back to leads. You wouldn't believe it. Our conversion rate increased by like 72% when we implemented this speed to lead system. So speed to lead is number one. Everybody these days wants information fast. Your inquiries are no different, my friend, especially when it's out of hours. The second one is churn risk detection. Every business rolls through the earth thinking that they get random cancellations. And then they're like, why did that business cancel? Why did they stop working with me? They actually sent you 5, 6, 7, 8 signals. You just didn't pick them up from anywhere. You didn't realize that they'd stopped logging into your system or your SaaS, or that they stopped emailing. You didn't realize all these things. Have AI tell you about these things and proactively reach out to them. That's my second one. And the third one, don't get me wrong, I can build that just about anything. But the third one that I love is reactivation. Reactivation, when it comes down to leads, is absolutely massive, because if you look at healthy pipelines, you don't leak. Your lost list is not a lost list. I like to call them not yet lists. Like, they're just people some people, yes, never buy. Fair enough. But 10%, 12% of those companies, they have said, do you know what? We're going to leave it till the new year. Do you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But because nobody has any AI implementation to follow up at these times, you're relying on the sales rep to do it manually with tasks in like HubSpot. And what's going on is they're focusing on the fresh, new, juicy fruit that's just come through the door as an inquiry that they think they can sign and get their commission. Whereas if you had the nurturing going on in the background, I'm talking proper nurturing. I'm not talking about your monthly newsletter. Like, no one wants to see your monthly newsletter. Like, seriously, yeah, obviously you need to send them out. But what I'm saying is that's not going to reactivate your closed list, really, right? Sending that to your list. You want to touch on the exact pain point that you discussed when they inquired in the first place in your reactivation message. Hey, Sarah, are you still struggling with your speed to lead systems and getting back to inquiries? Are you still losing inquiries to competitors because you're not getting back to them quick enough? I guarantee you every business listening to this is doing this, because I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, warts and all from AI. And those three areas are the first three areas 99% of businesses should focus on. And if they did, the cost of me to implement it, for example, and I'm not just pitching for me here, this is not a pitch, for somebody else, like an AI agency or whoever you use, just to have that from that perspective is going to be critically important to next steps. Like the ROI that you will receive will significantly far outweigh what you invest into the AI system.
Yes. And things are changing so quickly in AI. Unfortunately, most humans don't even understand what the pivot really was. We've gone from an x86 if then this architecture to a neural net network, which is drastically different kind of compute, which means long term, every programming language that's been written between machine and me is an abstraction layer for humanity and doesn't even need to be there any longer. But it's going to be a couple decades for us to untie everything and rewrite every piece of software in a neural net. There's going to be some time, and there's a lot of opportunities to be made in that time. The opportunities are profound for humanity to go out and become an entrepreneur right now. Not such a great time to be an employee, I don't think. I don't know for sure. So I urge everybody to get out and play with the tools and the modalities that you enjoy the most. If you enjoy making music, make music. If you enjoy making videos, make videos. If you enjoy doing stories, go out to open mics and grab a microphone and tell stories, and use AI as your tool, as your mentor, as your coach to help you do all of those things. That's my AI rant. Michael, I want to take a big pivot right now. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Earlier, you said 1% better every day. And as a Freemason, we say, every day I want to be a better man, not better than anybody else, but better than I was yesterday. And we don't kind of put a percentage on it. But I like the mantra. I like the thought process behind it. But I kind of want to call a little BS and say, okay, if I'm doing this, how do I keep this grind going? What is this 1% a day? Is it an arbitrary number? How do I measure it? If I can't measure it, I can't manage it. What does that really, really mean to a person that, just got out of rehab, lost their mom, and doesn't know what they're doing next week for dinner? Like 1% better. What the hell?
Yeah, I understand. And that's why it's when it comes to tangibly tracking the percentage increase, I think it's something that you have to try and be 1% better every day and then look back at a year later and you'll see. You won't see that it's the specific number, 365% or whatever. But what you will see is you will see the progress. But a book that changed my life is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. All right. And if you haven't read this book, you need to buy this book and it will change your whole perspective on the agreements that you make with yourself. Because when I say be 1% better than yesterday or improve 1%, my best on like today, if this podcast was filmed tomorrow, it might have been better or worse than what it's going to be today. But as long as I'm doing my best and I'm 1% better than what I was yesterday at doing my best, regardless of how I feel, whether I've got a headache, whether I've got things that are in my personal life that are bothering me, whether I've got all of these things, that's my 1%. So I don't expect to see growth every single day as a 1%er. And be like, okay, every day I'm going to earn 1% more money or I'm going to do this. But what it's going to be is I'm going to show up for myself and give the best, 1% more of the best on this day than I would have done when I felt like this yesterday or 7 weeks ago or 2 years ago. And I do that to make myself perpetually better. And that's how I would explain it.
Yeah, I think for me, it's recognizing the harmful things that I do to myself and the beneficial things that I do for myself. And sometimes it gets confusing, right? Sometimes I'm doing bad things to me that feel good and, they get me through some times. And, it's doing less of the bad to yourself and more of the good to yourself is really what I think it all layers down to. So,
and I also think when it comes down to the audience, I do think my mentality, was rebuilt at 18. Like I mentioned the story to you, I was completely destroyed. So at that point, I didn't feel like any of this. So now I'm bullish enough to sit here and say, if someone took everything from me today, I'd just do it again. And what I mean by that is that it's just the way, and I'm going to be 100% transparent, and I hope she doesn't watch this because I'll get a clip round the ear, as my mum would say. But My sister is in a position right now where I'm begging her to become an entrepreneur. She's a teacher. She's incredibly smart, but they're incredibly underpaid for what they do. And I want better for my family. Like, what's the point in having blessings if you can't give them? The best thing about having any blessings, and anybody who knows me personally, you ask them about me, I'm the most generous person you'll ever meet. I got any blessings I get, I give them away. It's for other people. It's not for me. And I tried to speak to my sister about this, what we were just talking about, that entrepreneurial mindset, that shift, that 1% improvement, saying to my sister, like, don't run the 9 to 5 job. Just pick something, whatever it is, and try and make yourself 1% better. And just by staying in the flames and the heat when it gets hard, it's not a competition against people, but you will beat 99% of people if you just stay in there when it's tough. Bite the gum shield, as they say in boxing. If you're on the ropes and, just cling on there, clinch, do whatever stay in the fight. And if you do that for long enough, the laws of probability tell you that you will be a success, because everyone else will quit and you'll just be left at the end of it like, well, we're here now. And I don't know, I just believe, if you want to you live your life however you want to live your life. I'm a big believer in that. Like, I don't want to imprint anything on anybody. But all I can tell you is, if you're on the fence about entrepreneurship, my life went from paying my bills and being able to take my partner out twice a month for a meal and maybe have a few beers in an evening, which I'm completely sober now. And that is something that has helped my entrepreneurial journey massively. From that to now, I never want to be that person again. And the horrible thing is, I didn't have somebody like myself to tell me. Like, show me behind. I feel like in my life, in the last 4.5 to 5 years, I've peeked behind a curtain and I have seen what actually happens and how money works and how you make money. And once I've peeked behind that curtain, I've realized, and I've gone back to tell everybody who I know. Like, I'm trying to explain to people, I'm a first generation millionaire, like, in my family. So, like, when I was born, with my mum and dad were watering down milk, and now we're all here like this now, and it's almost unbelievable. Sometimes I don't believe it myself. So, like, you know, and that's it. There's still loads
I have
left.
a song. Is this real?
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
But you don't remember, do you?
It's absolutely crazy. I love it.
Yeah, you don't remember
I do. Yeah, I think what you're talking about, and it's very real. And I might have some age on you, Michael. I'm not sure, but I've been in this game for a very long time, right? I've been an entrepreneur for 40 something years, right? So I'm very familiar with the grind, and I coach entrepreneurs and I coach fighters, right? I put kids in the ring for the very first time. One of my students is the female fighter of the year 2024, right? She's
That's
an
amazing.
amazing amateur boxer. My advice to entrepreneurs that have seen and peeked behind that glass and they want to yell and they want to scream, you can't put people in a fight that aren't ready to fight. And you can't put people in entrepreneurship that aren't ready for it. So, it's our job to be wonderful shepherds and create tools and processes and show the way for the people that are ready to jump, because it is a scary place.
Very
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a bigger requirement for more people to find their own way of supporting themselves in the future. I believe that the micro company, the solo entrepreneur is going to be a big part of the next decade as we transition from where we're at to where we're going. And nobody knows where that is, but it's scary. And people like me and people like Michael are here to sit with you through that and walk you through what this is going to be. If you think that we're wrong, I mean, I can tell you right now, I left the entertainment industry in 1999. And my partner, we had a radio show together, and he looked at me and said, "You're an idiot, Ken. This internet thing's a fad." And I said, "I think radio is a fad now, buddy. And I'm leaving the industry and I'm going to go IT. Guys here, and it's good. And it use the hell out of it. Play with it right now, because if you don't, I'm shocked at the people that don't know what's going on just on the daily basis. Go to primary.net, ChatGPT, Claude, any of those, and just say, hey, if I wanted a life coach, what are 20 questions you'd ask me to get started? And answer those questions for the AI and start talking to it. It's beautiful.
I'll give you some gold. When you speak to the AI system, there is the option to put a system instruction in. And you don't have to straight away, but just hear me out. Let's speak to like a beginner for using AI for the first time. Let's say you've never opened ChatGPT. I'm sure you have. But go to ChatGPT there's a system setting instruction, but just have the conversation with the LLM and get the exact answer that you want in the exact format that you want it. Keep going backwards and forwards with it until you get it. Don't trust it because it can hallucinate. Make sure, fact check things. But once you have that, like if you were on a diet plan and you had this bulletproof diet plan for your weight, if you ask once in that same chat, if you ask that AI to write you the exact system prompt that would have given you that answer straight away, you keep that system prompt, and anytime you need that again, you just use that system prompt and ask it to give you this question.
Yeah. I think the biggest gap in AI today for the common person is the common person has not ever been trained on how to communicate with a high intelligent being.
Yeah.
Right. And all of the AIs are 150 and up IQ. And if you don't know how to communicate with a 150 IQ, that not only is a 150 IQ, but knows every modality on the planet that humans know, you can get wildly good output. And I think another great tool is just say, hey, everything, when you're replying to me, reply like I'm a 9th grader, right? And then just keep it simple, or 8th grade. I don't care where you read. And then use the voice and let it read back to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hard.
I call it a 3-step system that we've got at the moment. There's 3 levels to it that you progress through naturally. Yeah. Level 1 is using let's say you're at work, you get asked a question by your boss about something. You go to ChatGPT, you type it, you search for it, you get some information, you take it, you finish what you were doing and you move on. That's level 1. That is the basic level of using AI. Effectively that. The second one is what I just discussed with you, where you have custom scripts. So like for me, I can build myself a personal trainer, a dietitian, even a doctor if you really wanted to. I don't advise you use it for anything health related, by the way, but just saying, I could have like let's say mental health advice, like to keep myself in check, meditation advice. I can build all of these coaches out by speaking to it, asking it questions, and then once I have everything that I want in the right order, asking it for the system prompt to become that person, and then be able to use it over and over and over again. And the third level is then using platforms like N8N, Make.com to build out these workflows and actually implement them into your business. Although obviously, unless you're a solopreneur or a really small business, I strongly advise you have somebody professional do it. Because AI, what I have to say about AI is that AI is not this magic bullet that's just going to make everything go away. Right now, it's not. It can make mistakes. It can trip over itself. There are things that happen when you leverage AI. So that can happen too. But can it make
I don't think there's a job on the planet that I can't automate away.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing that I can think of really is like construction trade.
Oh, nope, I can automate that away.
Yeah, you
100% of it.
With robots.
Absolutely.
There's
not a job on planet Earth that I cannot automate away.
I was thinking of, there was a story about, was it China that built a freeway and using entirely, I can't remember. I wish I had that to hand. But yeah, you are right. You are right.
And if I can't automate it away, then I'll re-engineer it so that it's bolt on. It's that simple, people.
Yeah.
It is that simple.
It is
There's
true.
not a job on planet Earth that cannot be automated 100% away with the technology that we have today. I don't know what that means long term, but it's real.
I do. I don't know what it means long term. Well, I
like to believe that you have a theory.
Yeah, and I would say that my educated guess is going to be exactly how it goes. I think you see these ages as we've gone through the agricultural age, the industrial age, the Simpsons. You live 5 miles from your office. You can support a house with 3 kids, run a car, go on holiday, have a stay-at-home wife. You have that industrial age. Well, all of that's gone. House prices are now 15, 20 times the average salary in the UK or whatever. I don't know what it is in the US. Obviously, it's location dependent too. But, you have these things. What I think is going to happen now is that businesses are very simply put, businesses are going to start to automate your positions, and the reliance on the government for welfare, the living wage, is going to increase. And the income into households now, let's say it's 60% wages. I think that number is going to drop to about, the numbers obviously I don't know, but the number is going to drop. Because why would anybody have a team of 162 sales reps?
I'll challenge you, Michael. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Are you ready to be wildly challenged?
Let's go.
In America, transportation is the #1 employer in our country. Teamsters are a hell of a union in our country. And they're roughnecks. They're good old boys. Ride motorcycles on the weekends and drink lots of beer. Yeah. And we're going to displace 100% of them over the next 3 years. You don't think that there's going to be any political or stand my ground against AI tyranny in our world?
I think, yes, there will be.
And how do we make that through the government? So I agree with you that there's a billion different possibilities on how we get through this. And if we're going to rely on our governments to fix it for us, we're all 100% doomed. This is an entrepreneur's challenge.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs have to find a way to make sure that the people that have been displaced by capitalism, and we've minoritized every single thing so that we can pull a profit out of it, don't come back and destroy the things that we're creating in the future, right? We have to figure out how to get lower cost food to the people. We have to figure out how to get lower cost housing to the people. And that is a job of entrepreneurship and capitalism, not the job of the government. And I think Musk is probably at the forefront there with Boxable.
Yeah, I think you're right. And there will be uproar. I think the majority of the uproar will come from the people being replaced, not the ones taking advantage of it. And I think that's our message. I'm not saying that people won't just disagree with it in general, but
I don't know how the government's going to ban it.
Yeah. Like they
right. I live in a place called St. Louis, Missouri in the United States, and we didn't get Uber for 5 years because the union in St. Louis for taxis was so strong.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there's going to be this human AI battle for a very long time. I don't know.
Very interesting take, because I spoke to a taxi. I was in London recently, and I spoke to a taxi driver. He actually picked me up from Heathrow. I'd come back from New York, and he picked me up. And I was talking to him about, and he was saying exactly the same thing you have just said about the battle to try and keep Uber out initially, like the way that they fought it with the unions to try and keep Uber out. And
now it's Waymo.
I've never thought
the economics around Waymo are phenomenal.
All I know is this. If we look at it from an entrepreneurial point of view, forgetting the impact, which is not wise, but like if you look at it as an individual, if I'm sat here, I'm only Michael Elliott, sat in my, office space here, speaking to you. I can't change the globe. I don't have that power. Like I say, I'm not Elon. I'm not political. I don't.
Not with that attitude, Michael. You don't.
You have a vote, but whatever. Like when it comes down to the future, I would, and I'm saying to all my daughters and anybody who'll listen to me, it's never been easier to get yourself out of a 9-to-5 than it is now, because I'm surrounded by developers and stuff that knock out a SaaS product per day. Never mind about what it used to take 4 months. They're doing it in a day, vibe coding. So you can do that. You can go to Bolt, Lovable, build these tools out. You can use Claude for coding or whatever. And I'd look at it that way. The reaction, the government, the impact, all of this stuff, you are right. Who knows? But I know that it's definitely going to reduce the number of jobs that are available to people. That's just a fact.
We think it might create a whole new bunch of jobs. We don't even know, right? Like some of the stuff is so wild that, there's cures for cancer now. There's cures for cancer now. In 3 years, we went from never having a cure from cancer to a cure for cancer. And AI has helped us do that. So the world's changing in a profound way. I love what you said, though. And I think it's one of the core tenets of Clicks and Bricks podcast is change your perspective, right? When you're going through life and shit's getting bad, change your perspective. And one of the core beliefs of an entrepreneur is find a problem and solve it. That's how entrepreneurs get where they're at. So the ability to solve problems has never been easier. And the amount of problems to solve is growing by the minute. So I think what we're begging you to do is look for problems, play with these tools and get used to them so that you're one of the people that can help solve these problems too.
Yeah. Do you know what's scary? It's the AI that will teach you how to do it.
Yes.
Like if you start to play with these things, but as you get better and you start to understand more, you can leverage AI. Like obviously I do it, I do it every day. But the point I'm making to any entrepreneurs listening or who are thinking of taking that leap or even starting a side hustle or however they're going to go about it, if you think about it like this, you can't really be too afraid because AI's coming in whatever fashion it's coming. Like I've explained my point of view, I think, on what's happening. But if you just look for problems in whatever you've worked in, it doesn't matter if you could have worked at a local grocery store and it could be something about their stock inventory. And you could then go and build an AI tool using AI to build it for you for the stock inventory at a grocery store. Don't think you have to be like, I am the furthest guy from tech you can possibly imagine. I am a very good imaginator when it comes down to a business's processes and overviews. I can look at a business and spot leaks quite really well. It's what I've done over 14 years. And obviously managing the paid advertisements has helped. But anybody listening to this who thinks I'm Harry Potter, right, needs to stop thinking that immediately, because I am not a wizard and I have nothing more than you have. Anything more. You probably have a lot more than me.
I am a computer genius, and I'm here to tell you it does not take a computer genius. It's communication.
Yeah.
That's what it is. These are intelligent beings that you can communicate to. Use Henry Ford's logic and say, I don't need to know everything. All I need to know is that I have a team that knows everything. And you have that now. You have it. You have every benefit that Henry Ford had times 100, thousands, right? So you have the ability in your pocket to change the world for the better or the worse. You choose.
I
Michael,
wonder what the first AI movie will be.
it's already out. There's a couple.
Yeah,
there's a couple.
I've seen some knocking about, but I mean, like, I wonder Netflix releasing like some sort. I could see a whole like.
Look, you'd be surprised at how long AI's really been in the back room, right?
Yeah, it only comes prominent. We hear about everything like 4 years later anyway. Like, so it's it's the way that it rolls. But
absolutely,
my message to people is I just like people to go for it, because if you believe that, if you can see it here and you're brave enough to speak it, then I believe in manifestation and it'll happen. Beautiful. And that's how I look at life.
Michael, if somebody wanted to work with you, and can you tell us who that person is, where they're at in their journey, and how they would get started?
So if anybody's interested in the basics of AI and they want to check out a bit of that from this conversation, just head to my YouTube channel, Michael Elliott, youtube.com/Michael Elliott AI. But when it comes down to the AI, if you want to implement speed to lead systems into your business, etc., head over to aitrain.co.uk. And if you want to scale your business using Google advertisements, then head over to adtrain.co.uk. 80% of my client base are in the States. So if you're in the States here, then, or Canada, one or the other. If you want to head there, hit me up and do that. But I'm also one who loves to give advice and give things back. So do not feel like you cannot dig me out on LinkedIn, ask me questions, tell me what you think about AI, ask me about a problem that you've been stuck on. I won't want paying for it. I'm not that sort of guy. I'm generous with my time. I will help any of you out if I can, if there's anything that you can do to a certain point. And like that's how you find me. But subscribe to my YouTube channel if the AI game is something you want to follow. There's everything there, from step-by-step tutorials for implementation of systems to my opinions on next steps from AI.
Awesome, Mike. We won't go into my opinions on AI. They're pretty far out there. Diary of a CEO is my favorite podcast, and Steven has his guest write a question for another guest. And I bought the deck of cards, and it's one of my favorite things to do, except I always have trouble with the names. Sophia Amoruso is who this question was written from. Who is someone you need to forgive and have not?
Myself. And the reason for that is because for a long time, I blamed myself because it was my fault for the split at 18. Even though the wounds have healed and it motivates me and it's my fire, the problem that I've held on to for a long time is that I've been an every other weekend Tuesday night dad to my eldest daughter. And we have a great relationship. She loves me to bits. I love her to bits. I took her horse riding yesterday, but I've never let that go. And that is the honest truth. I don't want that to come across as a cop-out. That is something that is really genuinely truth, true. But my take on other people outside of that to expand is going to be maybe a bit controversial, but I don't forgive people. Like, it's completely left field. And the way I see it is this: if you put your hand out into a bush and a snake bites you, do you put your hand back in that bush again? You already know what's in there. You know it's going to bite you. Why do it? So there are cases, things happen. I forgive my partner for small things, but my genuine opinion on forgiveness is that it's a very cold, lonely road. And you should keep good people around you and reward loyalty with love and disloyalty with distance. And that's the way that I would go.
Okay. Without being too direct, Michael, I can tell that you don't forgive people. I can see it in you.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I don't know.
It's a thing. Mine is, I'm still negotiating with the universe on forgiving it for the amount of pain that's required on the negative side of the pole for pure joy and happiness. That's what I'm currently forgiving at the moment. I'm negotiating that pretty hard, and we're working daily on it together. But my take on forgiveness is that you don't forgive for other people. I don't know what's in that bush behind that snake. I might want to reach back in and get it. And I got to forgive that snake for showing me how to be cautious and how to move forward without getting bit. So I'm not forgiving for them. I'm forgiving for me so that I can move forward and enjoy what's behind that snake, which is probably a beautiful creek and some beautiful berries and some food. And that's where I want to be, is on the other side of that, and understanding that the other humans on this planet, the other things in this world are just here trying to do their best to get through it too.
I've had people I have forgiven for big things. Like I have had them, but they are
Yeah.
few and far between.
I think it's got to be everything, all the way down to the universe. For the pain that you were in at birth, I think you have to forgive your mother and your father for creating that for you. And if you can do that, and maybe I walk with Buddha a little too frequently, but that's my take on life, and it's helped me in profound ways.
No,
If you're out there and
listen,
you're watching and you need to forgive somebody, yourself, your doctor, your lawyer, your wife, your husband, your kid, take the time to think about it. It's good stuff. And
you've just
trespassers are trespassers.
Yeah, just to add to that there, I'm not going to spend too long on this, but just to add to that right there, I think it depends on who the individual is and how much, like whether I love them or not, or if they're part of my circle too. So when you listen back to that question I just answered, make sure you take that. I would forgive my mum for doing something. I've forgiven my best friend for doing something to me that was like that I wouldn't forgive anyone else for. I guess what I was saying is, as I move around the earth, I am the nicest, most generous person on the planet until you show me that I shouldn't be. And the second that I see something that I don't like, I turn and I'm gone. And it's not a forgiveness thing. I don't hate you.
Boundary is important.
Over there. Yeah. Like
separate yourself. You don't need to be with that energy, and it's okay. It can be over there and it can be over here. There's plenty of room on this planet.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly it.
Michael, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you.
Ken, it's been great. Thank you.